Even though bees are some of the most beneficial creatures to humans, they can sometimes be dangerous. The killer bee, also known as the Africanized honeybee, is one such species that has gained notoriety for its aggressive behavior and venom potency. So in today's episode, we will discuss the killer bee. Are they really dangerous? Hi, and welcome back to our channel. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update on new episodes. In today's episode, we will talk about the killer bee, also called the Africanized honeybee or the African bee. It is an aggressive hybrid of the Western honeybee and the Africanized honeybee. Killer bees were created by accident in 1956 when a shipment of Western honeybees was sent from Italy to Brazil with the intention of crossbreeding them with the Africanized honeybees in order to produce a hybrid that would be more resistant to African swarming. The experiment was unsuccessful and many of the Africanized honeybees escaped. Today, there are millions of them in South America, and they have spread to several other countries in the Americas, as well as parts of Africa and Asia. It is believed that killer bees are responsible for hundreds of deaths each year, but this is not entirely accurate. Although killer bees are more aggressive than other types of bees, they do not seek out humans as prey, and attacks are rare unless provoked. When they do attack, however, they can be deadly because their sting is more painful and their venom is more potent than that of other bees. Additionally, killer bees are known to travel in large swarms, which makes an attack even more dangerous. So first, let's take a look at how the killer bee got its name. Killer bees are actually just one type of honeybee. Like all honeybees, they live in hives and colonies, with a queen, drones, and workers. The difference between killer bees and other honeybees is that killer bees are more aggressive and will attack anything that invades their space, including humans. This is why they are called killer bees. But it's important to note that killer bees only attack if they feel threatened. If left alone, they will not bother humans. However, if a person or animal gets too close to a hive, the bees may become agitated and attack. So how do you defend yourself against a killer bee attack? If you are in an area where killer bees are present, it is important to take precautions to protect yourself. Here are some tips on how to avoid and deal with a killer bee attack. First, avoid wearing bright colors, as bees are attracted to them. You should also avoid using strong perfumes or lotions, as these can also attract bees. If you're outside and your hair is long, you should tie it back, as loose hair can make you look like a beehive and attract bees. If a bee lands on you, don't panic and try to brush it off calmly. If a bee starts stinging you, you should pluck it off rather than scratching, as this will agitate the bee and make it release more venom. If you are attacked by a swarm of bees, you should try to run away as fast as possible. If this is not possible, you should protect your head and face with your arms and try to stay calm. Now let's take a look at the physical characteristics of a killer bee. Apis mellifera scutellata, commonly known as the Africanized honeybee or killer bee, is a subspecies of the Western honeybee, Apis mellifera. It is found in tropical regions of Africa, southern USA, northern Mexico, Central America, northern South America, and some parts of Asia. Killer bees typically measure around 3/4 of an inch in length and a dark yellow to dark brown in color. They are fuzzy and hairy and have a distinct abdominal sting. Killer bees are larger than most other types of bees and have a more robust build. Their wings are also larger and produce a distinctive buzzing sound. Killer bees are social insects and live in colonies with other bees. Each colony has a single queen bee who lays eggs, male drones who mate with the queen, and female workers who collect pollen and nectar and defend the hive. Moving on, let's look at the behavior of the killer bee. Killer bees are highly aggressive and defensive of their territory. They are known to attack anyone or anything that invades their space, including humans. This aggression is what earned them the name killer bees. Killer bees are also very efficient foragers and will travel long distances to find the best sources of nectar and pollen. They are also very competitive and will fight other bees for access to resources. Killer bees are also highly adaptable and can survive in a variety of climates and environments. They are also very prolific and can produce large numbers of offspring, which contributes to their rapid spread. Now let's talk about the diet of the killer bee. Like other bees, killer bees are pollinators and feed primarily on nectar and pollen. They are especially fond of plants in the Asteraceae family, which includes plants like sunflowers, daisies, and asters. Killer bees will also visit other flowering plants to collect nectar and pollen, and they are important pollinators of crops such as almonds, apples, and cherries. In addition to their plant-based diet, killer bees may also consume small insects and other invertebrates that they capture while foraging. Now let's look at the reproduction of the killer bee. As mentioned earlier, killer bees are highly prolific and can produce large numbers of offspring. The queen bee is responsible for laying eggs, and she can lay up to 2,000 eggs per day. The eggs hatch into male drones and female workers, and the males mate with the queen to produce more queens. The newly mated queens will leave the hive to start their own colonies, and this process of swarming and creating new colonies helps to ensure the rapid spread of killer bees. Next, let's take a look at the lifespan of the killer bee. The lifespan of a killer bee varies depending on its role in the colony. The queen bee can live for several years, while the male drones typically live for a few weeks to a few months. Female workers have the shortest lifespan of all, and they usually die within a few weeks of being born. Now let's talk about the predators of the killer bee. Killer bees, like any other species, have natural predators. Birds, rodents, and reptiles, such as snakes, are some of the animals that prey on bees. In addition to these animals, there are also parasites and diseases that can affect killer bees. The varroa mite is a common parasite that can weaken and kill bees. There are also several fungal and bacterial diseases that can affect killer bee colonies. Now let's take a look at the conservation status of the killer bee. The killer bee is not currently considered endangered or threatened, but its population is not well studied, and it is possible that its numbers are declining. Habitat loss due to deforestation and climate change may be contributing to this decline. Additionally, the widespread use of pesticides and insecticides may be harming killer bee populations, as well as other pollinator species. Conservation efforts are underway to protect the killer bee and its habitat, and to raise awareness of its importance as a pollinator. Finally, let's discuss the importance of the killer bee in the ecosystem. Killer bees are important pollinators of plants and crops, and play an important role in maintaining biodiversity. They are also a source of food and income for people in some parts of the world. Despite their reputation as being dangerous and aggressive, killer bees are an integral part of the ecosystem, and their presence is essential for the health of the environment. And that's all for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed learning about the killer bee. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update on new episodes. Thanks for watching.